I have a background of I've been in the nursing field for over 30 years and I'm actually a nurse practitioner specializing in cardiac heart failure. Then I moved into the real estate arena in 2018-19.
What did you have to change to make it possible for you to move into the direction of leaving one career and be successful in a new one?
It was such a difficult change. Moving into something very independent was a scary change for me. For me, I had to think of a different strategy. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have all these colleagues all over the United States that are not essential workers and they weren't able to go to work. They had to buy and sell. And so that was an easy focus for me, knowing that I could utilize the market in that way to actually have a great year.
Hi, I'm Noelle with Today's Brew, where top producing real estate agents share their tips and tricks on taking more listings, making more money, and having fun doing it. On today's episode, we welcome Elle Probst from Orlando, Florida. How are you?
I'm doing great, Noelle. How are you?
I am fantastic. So let's give a little backstory. We are at a conference right now, and I met Elle yesterday, and I thought that she had a lot to offer everybody. So we are so lucky to have her take a little bit of time today to talk with us. Elle, tell us about your background. Were you always in real estate?
Actually, no. I have a background of I've been in the nursing field for over 30 years, and I'm actually a nurse practitioner specializing in cardiac heart failure.
Hmm,
And I moved into the real estate arena in 2018-19 around COVID. I've
okay.
been licensed as a real estate agent since 2004, though.
Okay. When did you transition into full time? In
Full time
20.
to actually 2018.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What did you have to change to make it possible for you to move into the direction of leaving one career and be successful in a new one?
It was such a difficult change because coming out of a corporate position, moving into something very independent was a scary change for me. And actually, at that time, COVID was just right around the corner. And when that came about, I had to actually pivot to accommodate the market. Uh, since I was in healthcare, for me, I had to think of a different strategy. And knowing in the state of Florida, we were actually allowed to be essential workers. And as a healthcare provider at that time, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have all these colleagues all over the United States that are not essential workers and they weren't able to go to work. And
Hmm.
so, as medical professional, I turned to my colleagues,
Yeah.
physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs, nurses, health firefighters, first responders, and knew that number one, they were essential workers. Number two, they were still getting an income. Number three, they had to buy and sell. And so that was an easy focus for me, knowing that I could utilize the market in that way to actually have a great year.
I'm curious because, like I shared with you, I was like, ooh, I might have done the opposite. I might have freaked out a little bit, gotten scared, maybe not have been so proactive like you were. How many transactions did you do just for the pure fact that you decided to run with what we were given and continue to do your work?
Well, that's a funny thing. I mean, it was a good year for me knowing that it was my actual first year into real estate. And I did 12 transactions that year just because of the fact that I didn't I didn't have the skills that I have knowing I'm at this conference right now that helps me sharpen my skills. And so, the coaching aspect of it being in that portion really elevated my performance. So,
Absolutely.
mhm.
You also shared with me a little bit about your prospecting. Will you tell everybody about that schedule and the really cool group that you have going on as well?
Absolutely. So I am in a prospecting group called Phone Warriors, and it's led by Dean Clark and Richard Aminsky. And they're based out of New Jersey, but we have a Zoom prospecting group that starts basically around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, all the way to 8 p.m. because we have both East Coasters and West Coasters that jump on. And it's almost like a little rally group where we can hear each other in terms of working our sellers to actually, get help with objection handlers and hearing each other grab appointments. So it's really
Mhm.
great. And so I've been on that in that group for, I believe it's over a year now. So
And it's working. It's working. You shared with me that you here on this conference are still getting listing appointments. So have you been utilizing this prospecting group when you're not in the conference right now?
in the, well, not during conference, but knowing that I have my past clients and circle of influence that know me. And so
Mhm.
actually yesterday, right at break for lunch, I got a phone call, what we call it a come list me phone call. And it's
Mhm.
a past client that I actually, they were my buyer, and now they want to be a seller, not just to one property, but two.
Woo! We
Yeah,
love that. We love that. You can be out of town, across country, and make money. And
absolutely.
so how do you deal with distractions? We talked a little bit about that this morning in the seminar.
Yes.
Daily distractions. How do you get past it?
So I've learned to turn on my do not disturb, which you probably saw it during the whole time, knowing
Yeah,
that I know that the messages are coming through, but making sure that I put that on to not have that flash in front of my face.
absolutely. You just reminded me to put mine on so that nothing happened during this call.
Exactly.
It is so important, and what's funny is I think people are using it more and more even when they're not working. Like, people are
Yes.
really taking advantage of the ability to tap out and have some time for themselves, whether it's work or just to relax.
Yes.
So technology is definitely a win sometimes.
Um,
Um, what is your personality style?
what do you think it is?
Well, I think you're an amiable. I'm an amiable. Um,
110% amiable. I come from the nursing field, and knowing that we care for people a lot, and it really
mhm.
pulls on my heartstrings that I'm totally amiable.
So, for people that aren't super familiar with the different styles, we don't have to go into all of them, but how does being an amiable translate for you in your business, in your day to day activities, and just communicating with prospects?
So I know the very first time I met Mike Ferry, he told me, amiables are nurses and teachers are the best people to come into real estate because we are amiable, and it's because
Mhm.
that we care and that we actually listen. And so that's one of the biggest skills that I feel, takes me to the top, knowing that I can actually listen to them. And my motto is I treat my clients just like I treated my patients.
Oh, well, then everyone's really lucky to have you.
I'm
Right?
a people pleaser, so
Ah, me too. Oh my goodness. And like at the age of 38, I decided maybe we should push back just a little bit on that, just a
it
tad.
is true.
And it really took to the age of 38 to go, well, maybe I don't have to people please everybody.
No, and that's why we have to become versatile, right? We
Yes.
learn to be versatile to, work with personality styles that we really need to, help get business done. And so being versatile has really helped. And usually I'm just like very timid, whatever you want to do. But sometimes it gets to the point where I'm the driver, knowing that we got to get this done. We got to do it this way. So,
Oh, absolutely. So that kind of brings me to the next question. So if you're on a listing presentation and
yes,
it's going a little off course,
yes.
how do you get back on track?
Well, I go right back to the scripts knowing that there's a next question that I know that I have to ask in order to really bring it all back together, because it can go in many directions, especially, if you have someone that's very analytical.
Yep, yep.
Answer their question as precisely as possible, but get back on the script because of the fact that it's going to take you forever and you don't want to be there for a long time. So usually, sometimes I do my 30-day challenge of
Mhm.
script writing. So it's actually doing the listing presentation 30 days out of the month, and I would send that to an accountability partner and let them see that I've actually done it for the day.
I did that when I first got into. My coach had me do that, and every single morning I wrote my listing presentation, and it's amazing how it actually works when you study and you try, and then you can truly internalize it because if we're actually doing the work halfway into the month, you don't really need to look over at the paper so often. You can just kind
Right.
of finish your own sentences.
And you know what? I take that listing presentation with me on listing appointments, and just like Mike says, use it as an answering sheet. You have the questions for the seller, write the answers down and knowing that that's what we need to do in order to get that contract signed.
Hmm. So when you're prospecting and making your calls, how many calls is it taking you to get a listing appointment?
Probably at least, I do about 36 contacts a day, and sometimes it's hard. So I try to hit them 3 times a day through the
Okay.
list.
Okay, really? So you'll call in the morning and then the afternoon if you don't have any appointments or anything?
Yeah. So coach says you have to make sure that you utilize the best of your time in order to make those contacts.
Mhm. Income producing activities, not
Well,
Now
sure,
here's
go
a
ahead.
question, do you go into an office or do you work from home?
I typically work at home. The office I have is a small shared space, and so
Mhm.
it's hard to prospect with other people in the room. And so I prospect at home and on Zoom with my phone warrior crew, and knowing that
Perfect.
we're together like that.
Yeah, I guess I am getting a lot of takeaways for myself, today's discussions and talking to you yesterday. I love the idea of the group prospecting, and especially so because I do work from home as well.
Oh, there
And
you go.
when you're at home, you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should go do a little laundry, or maybe I should go to the grocery store really quick and get stuff for dinner. So having the accountability partners and have everybody right there to kind of call you on your BS is beautiful.
It is. You're sitting there like you can't get where you're getting up. You got to where are you going?
Yeah, you get a little text and you're like, Noel or Al, what are you doing? Get back on the phone. No, it's amazing. I love it so much.
Mhm.
How much of your business is listing versus buyer?
So when I first started, obviously it was 100% buyers,
Mhm.
and coming into the season that we are in now, probably 60-40,
Okay.
trying to hit that 70-30,
Mhm.
and mostly from past clients and COI, which is, if you want your business to actually thrive and sustain, you should be going after those people instead of just cold calling, because of the fact that they don't know you, they don't trust you, and we
Mhm.
get to a point where we want repeat business, right? Where they
Absolutely.
say average person moves every 7 years, and
Mhm.
there's always 5 people that know 5 people that will be moving soon. So
Hey, wait, were we just in the same conference? Did we both just learn that statistic?
yes, remember?
There's 5 people that are moving every year or something like that. And
Yeah, exactly.
when you hear that, it makes it really sound so simple and easy.
Absolutely. And it's just, we just have to be able to implement it. And I think that's what our barriers are. We are our own barriers, that we don't listen to the things that we are taught. But if you do, it really makes you a successful agent.
It does. So, what is your transaction goal for 2024?
So 2024, my transaction goal is 40. Um,
Yay.
and I believe, speaking with my coach, I'm on pace for 40 plus.
I love it. You mentioned to me yesterday, and maybe I'm wrong, but 9 pending right now.
Yes, I currently have 9 pending, 2 actives, 2 coming soon, 9 buyers, which 4 are pre-approved, and 5 of them are uh, in the process right now. So,
Goodness.
and I only have
How many closed transactions
uh,
already?
right now I have 17 closed.
Girl, you're on fire. On fire. And you still have a healthy amount of buyers, even with that schedule. So you are busy, busy. Will there be a point in your career that you will just give them all away?
That was a great point that Tony Smith or said on
Mhm,
stage, to say that buyers, they're a lot of work, obviously, but we want to make sure that they are taken care of. And
mhm.
as becoming more into the listing agent side, it may be a great opportunity to refer it out
Yeah.
and not be able to service them as well as I would for my sellers. So.
Yeah, and then at the other end of that, the amiable in us doesn't want to do that. We
Oh,
want to take care of them, especially
no.
if it is someone from your database, someone from your center of influence, or just a good friend. I have those, and we don't want to not work with them. We want to work with them, but I know it's a slippery slope. It's kind of tricky. I have one more question for you, and I guess that really is, if you could start all over from the beginning of
Mhm.
getting into real estate, is there anything that you would have done differently?
I actually would have signed up for coaching way sooner than I would imagine, knowing that that actually gives me the stepping stones of where I am today, as
Mhm.
well as, when I know at a certain point where I have to have help and to delegate, which I still have problems with now, but knowing what I've heard today and, with all previous conferences as well, is that it's such an important part of it to make the business grow. So,
Absolutely. The coaching, you're right on par. And going to these events that the coaching provides, because it really lightens you up, and you're excited, and you go back home and you're like, I heard this story. Like, honestly, talking to you yesterday was so refreshing. And I'm gonna go home. And I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna go home, and I'm like, okay, stopped slacking, and it's because of you. So thank you so much, Elle, for taking the time, because we are super busy out here, for coming on today. If people want to reach out to you, obviously your phone number's on there, but any social media or email addresses you care to share?
absolutely. So my email address is lsellsflorida@gmail.com. My handle is Elle Probst Realtor. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, and love to reach out or follow each other. That'd be wonderful.
Fabulous. All right, y'all have heard it. Send her referrals or send her listings, buyers, whatever you want. And thank you again so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Noel. Really appreciate this.